the much requested and the slightly delayed shark tier list from the Tier Zoo. ChavezzSlovakia, I am happy to be back. I love the Tier Zoo vids. It's a series I am committed to doing because I love animal facts, and dressing them up in a video game exterior is fantastic. Now, new subs to the channel have been very confused, from dank memes to fact videos to more memes. It's a lot of memes, to storytelling, you know, but that's what we've been doing here on ChavezzSlovakia for the past 2 years, and we shall continue to do it into 2019, which is swiftly coming upon us, ChavezzSlovakia. I mean, that shit is running, bro. So what do we got coming out? Friday, Call of Duty drops on Friday. The next week we have Red Dead Redemption. The next couple days after that we have Dark Souls on the Switch. Then the next month we have some other shit dropping. So it's a festive video game month. So be prepared for that shit because we're going to be in it. And let's do it, man. That's fucking, yeah, the fairies and shit.
Innovations made by players have been the main driving force behind the biggest meta shifts in the entire history of the game. And today I want to highlight one of the most important, the implementation of the move Bite. There's actually a fair bit of debate on which guilds can take credit for pioneering this move. But there's no question that one of the first to really perfect it, to the point of being meta-defining, were none other than the Sharks. And since then, they've been holding on to that top spot tighter than ice climber players hold onto a wobbling victim. They've been extremely relevant in every expansion since the Silurian, something very few guilds can claim. So today I'll go over the tier list of the Sharks, and highlight the main attributes and abilities which have made them such fearsome builds.
I'm telling you, even with just scavenging sharks that don't, like, you know, go after, you know, like huge prey like the great white or whatever, I say there are no F tier sharks.
Overall, sharks are at a pretty good spot in the meta, averaging around B tier. The main benefits of playing a shark build include high mobility, high damage, and most importantly, the ability to sense any player near you due to special abilities like blood sense and electroreception.
Yeah, that's dope.
Main drawbacks include lacking swim bladder, an ability which allows the user to control their buoyancy at will, and also lacking gill flaps. Gill flaps passively regenerate stamina, and is an ability unique to bony fish, so sharks can only regenerate stamina if they're moving. Now let's talk about individual shark builds.
Stop moving,
As always, we'll start from the bottom of the tier list and work our way up.
Okay.
In bottom tier, we have nothing. There are genuinely no shark builds I could justify as being bottom tier. Most sharks don't deviate too far from the base shark concept, which is good because it's a great guide for success. With that said, not all sharks are created equal, and in D tier we have two builds which don't really capitalize on any of the benefits of the shark class. First is the Nurse Shark. Low mobility, sedentary playstyle, and a really weak bite. Instead of abusing the powerful kit available for shark classes, Nurse Sharks rummage around the ocean floor looking for easy XP. However, they do have the strongest suction force of any fish, and since they don't have many terrible matchups, they're definitely no F tier. Second in D tier we have the Saw Shark. Saw Shark players, what are you doing? Teeth are some of the best weapons in the game, and the only drawback to using them is that breaking them can ruin your playthrough. But sharks have replaceable teeth, so that weakness is completely nullified. So why did you opt for this goofy, cumbersome, impractical weapon setup? Swinging that thing around uses way too much stamina for what it nets you, and isn't very useful for defending yourself. Whatever, you do you, I guess.
Wait, he wrote some stuff, I want to read it. It's very long.
What it nets you,
hold on.
And isn't very useful for defending yourself.
I know this is a sawfish, not a saw shark. Oh, okay.
Whatever, you do you, I guess.
I thought they looked kind of different, but
in C tier, we've got all the sharks that decided they'd rather AFK their entire game instead of making use of the best tools available to sharks. This includes the Basking Shark, Whale Shark, and any other shark who thought filter feeding was a better idea than being a swimming doom machine. Yes, it may be easy if you make it to the late game, but without good weapons and low mobility, the majority of your playthrough is a huge risk, with mobile fish players like the marlin and sailfish having no problem taking you out. Now we're in B tier, and we're almost to the shark builds who know how sharks are meant to be played. Almost. But first, we've got two more unorthodox builds. Some of my personal favorites, actually. The first is a shark who decided that, despite being one of the smallest of its kind, it would attack the largest builds in the game. The Cookie Cutter Shark. Cookie Cutter Sharks are unorthodox, in that instead of going for the predator playstyle, they function as a parasite. They simply latch onto a whale or other massive player, and by twisting themselves back and forth, they steal a cookie-shaped bite right off. This doesn't do much damage to players, but interestingly, this build was a secret among the Shark Guild, up until a few cookie-cutter players accidentally attacked human submarines, and actually caused their sonar to malfunction. This was during the Cold War, so the Russians and Americans assumed that the other was somehow sabotaging their submarines, until eventually a Soviet sub surfaced with a Shark player still latched on. In B+ tier, we have a shark which uses one of the only AoE...
The cookie cutter sharks got me fucked up. He ate a bite out of his ass. Literally. Literally. No pause needed. It's a hole. There's a hole there.
...stun move seen in the entire game. The Thresher Shark. Attacking a school of fish is difficult, and due to their advanced evasion and diversion tactics, you have to be fast, lucky, or clever in order to even catch a single fish. That is, unless you can hit them with a flashbang, which is essentially what Thresher Sharks do. Thresher Sharks have tails as long as the rest of their body, and they use them as a whip, creating shockwaves which stun small groups of fish, negating their normally excellent evasion abilities. They do all of this without deviating too far from the great base stats of the Shark Guild, so they retain decent mobility and attack power while wielding this weapon. In A tier, we finally get to those famous core shark builds everyone knows, loves, and fears. It's hard to rank these in relation to each other because they're all just so darn great. We'll start with the Tiger Sharks. Tiger Sharks have higher stealth than most of the well-known shark builds, and also have uniquely shaped teeth that make them more effective at cutting through armor and bone. Similar to actual tigers, the main strategy of a tiger shark is to get close to its target with stealth, and then use a quick burst of speed to snatch it before it can react. On the opposite end of the spectrum from this strategy, we have the Mako Shark, which has the highest mobility of all the sharks and uses this to chase down its targets. This playstyle requires a lot of stamina, so this build breaks the mold and opts for warm blood instead of being cold-blooded like most other fish. This gives the Mako Shark the benefits of fast stamina regeneration, allowing it to keep up a pursuit longer than most other hunters. Since this speed comes at a cost to size, it doesn't quite have the monstrous weight advantage over its targets, and so Mako players need to be careful and not get too greedy. The ocean's other premier speed demons, the swordfish and marlin, can be tough matchups for them. At the top of A tier, we have the bull shark, which has two unique and powerful abilities. The first is that they have the highest bite force of any shark, meaning that even though they have pretty average teeth in terms of slicing and cutting utility, they can still deliver an extremely potent bite. The second ability...
Sorry, it's an r/videos mods.
Pretty average teeth in terms of slicing and cutting utility, they can still deliver an extremely potent bite. The second ability is that bull sharks can enter freshwater servers without receiving the energy sapping and damaging debuff that obligate saltwater builds do. This allows them to travel into rivers and streams where they have no real competition. This makes bull sharks the best build for griefing low-level players. And judging by the bull shark's reputation for being the most aggressive shark, it's clear that this is exactly the type of player that this build attracts. And here we are, the head honchos of the Shark Guild. There's two builds here that occupy low S tier, and honestly I can't place one above the other, they're both just awesome.
I'm boiling something, I'll be right back. Okay, the house isn't burnt down, so that's good. I don't know what the fuck, Rippin'. I was looking at the water in the video, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm boiling some water.
There's two builds here that occupy low S tier, and honestly I can't place one above the other, they're both just awesome. What makes them so excellent is how well they use their tracking abilities, blood sense, and electroreception. The Great White Shark is no doubt the most feared ocean build in the current meta, and the closest thing to the god tier Megalodon still in existence. They pretty much just take everything that makes sharks so strong, and push all of those things to their limit. They don't have as high bite damage as the tiger or bull shark, but the force of a great white's charge attack slamming into their target more than makes up for it, and usually takes the stock no problem. Hunting seal players is difficult because they're clever and try to avoid putting themselves at risk when they don't need to. This is why the great white's ability to see above water is so crucial, because they can see which islands and reefs their targets are hiding on and camp them out. Their blood sense ability is through the roof, and their electroreception ability is quite polished as well, but nowhere near to the extent of the last build on my list, the Hammerhead. Now, if you aren't a Hammerhead player, I'm willing to bet that when you look at this build, you think the player fell asleep during character creation and accidentally set eye width to the max. But if you think this option is purely aesthetic and not intentional, you couldn't be more wrong.
I love
Hammerheads have the best, most well-optimized sensory abilities in the game. They have full panoramic vision and have binocular eyesight, ahead and behind them, which gives them a massive accuracy bonus on the attack and a huge evasion bonus if they're being chased. With the chemo and electroreceptors on the front of their face, they essentially have 3D
weird.
smell and 3D electroreception, putting their spatial awareness almost as high as dolphins and bats. Their snout shape also lets them turn on a dime, which makes it so their attacks almost never miss. Furthermore, while they don't hunt together, they do travel in schools, providing safety in numbers and causing an intimidation debuff on pretty much the entire surrounding area.
I ain't fucking
So
with
that's the tier list for the sharks. As you can see, they're an amazing class with a lot of useful abilities and strengths to play around with. They have only a few bad mashups like dolphins, orcas, and a few other top tier fish like swordfish and marlin. Thanks for watching. You may have noticed that this channel went from less than 10,000 to well above 100,000 within a single week.
You mean 1 million now, because you're at 1 million.
Which happens because YouTube started recommending my videos. So to repay the YouTube community for shooting my sub count to the moon, I'm going to make a few recommendations of my own for channels with low sub counts. First, I've got to shout out Metacurio, an educational channel on disease and medicine.
Okay.
Second is Vlogs of Knowledge, a channel dedicated to putting the cool and interesting parts of history in historical context and providing much needed background.
Okay.
Last is the Manitowoc Minute, the only thing good about living in Wisconsin. Thanks again for watching, and if you got a build that you'd like me to analyze, be sure to leave it in the comments, and subscribe so that you don't miss it when I actually do cover it.
Dude, shouts out to the Tier Zoo, man. See him doing well right by his people. And but yeah, shouts out to them, dude. This was posted back last year, so he wasn't at 1 million when he posted that, but he's most definitely there now. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, ChavezzSlovakia. Keep suggesting your favorite ones. We'll probably make it there eventually, and I'll see y'all then. Peace.
Crocs, 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 Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. Wearing Crocs, boy. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. I'm rocking Crocs. Wearing Crocs, boy. My Crocs are gold. My pops is old. My Crocs got soul. My Crocs are bold. I go to church wearing Crocs. I'm always turned wearing Crocs. My Crocs are great. Your Crocs are lame. With my Crocs, I can cross a lake. Crocs, 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 Crocs.